We're going to record here. Okay, yeah, welcome. Great, finally you made it.
Yay,
okay, yes, let's celebrate.
Yes.
Okay, all right, let's share what you have accomplished.
So I have a business partner I am looking into. We're not quite joined together yet, but so far it looks very promising. He helps out charities. And he is amazing at what he can do for a charity as far as fundraising, as far as advertisement, as far as setting them up like businesses so that they're just not carrying the weight on their backs. They are focused on their charity. So there's so many good things that are lining up with this gentleman. And he's starting to show me what he does and how he does it. And I'm bringing 3 or 4 charities already to him that will be beginning probably at the end of this month or next month.
Wow.
And so I'm pretty excited because they're charities I really care about. But the stress load of the people that started the charities, you know, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of money.
Right.
And so it's going to help them. He's going to be a resource for them.
Great.
And I think really help them out. He has grant writers. It's just amazing. He just can really give them a package deal of how to help them. And so I'm excited. I am so excited.
Yes. Now, who is this person?
Joe.
Oh,
Joe, oh gosh, I cannot think of his last. My mind just blanked. But I will send you his contact information because I know that you were going to help out elderly and single mothers.
Right.
And you might want to look into it's Nonprofit Accelerators. Is his company. I'll send you all the information and you can look into him. But he right now so far looks pretty promising and what he can do for charities. And
I see.
So I'm pretty excited. And he's also helping a fellow Platt right now with her charity. And I'm pretty excited for her to hear her results.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Excited.
Great. Now, who are the charities that you have already introduced to him?
There's a couple. So there's Victory Home.
Okay.
What Victory Home does is they go into crack houses, prostitution, and they just said, you know, you do not have to do this anymore. You can live a different life. And they provide housing and food and jobs and training. They will help people get off drugs. They'll help them through, you know, there's a process when you're addicted and you're trying not to do it anymore. I can't think what that's called. But where they have to break them from that addiction. It's a pretty rough moment to go through. They do all that right there in-house. So there's Victory Home. And then my husband went and built in Uganda, Africa, he went and built a school for a gentleman there. And so he is one I'm sending to him. And another friend of ours in Uganda, Africa, his church was a full functioning church, and his congregation has died of AIDS and left their children.
Oh my goodness.
And his church has turned into an orphanage because of AIDS.
Yes.
And so I'm sending him there as well to go and get help. And then there's a church that also helps both of those two. I'm going to send them there as well to go get help. So there's quite a few people. And then my Platt coach is going to start up a community center. She has already researched Joe and his company, and she is highly impressed with him. And she will be joining the ranks with him pretty shortly here as well. So, I mean, it's just really flowing really well. And I love to see people helping other people for the greater good.
Right.
And someone that knows how to package it and take off the weight a little bit.
Yes.
So it's a beautiful to be part of that. And,
yes.
Went over contacts for that. Yes.
Did you actually meet him?
Yes, I've met him several times. We've had several meetings of getting to know each other. I'm just getting to know his business more and more and more. He's going to bring me along with some clients that he has. And it's the people I bring to him, I'm going to be in on meetings. And the more I get to know how he functions, the better I can help him.
I see. So. Okay. I think that's wonderful. That's really great. I think I might have had a meeting with him on Zoom one time. And I sent him the video, and also I asked him, because we didn't exactly finish. We only did part of that. So I have been asking him, or actually I sent him an email and asked him if he would be able to schedule a second meeting.
Oh, good.
Yes, but I haven't heard from him yet. So probably he's super busy right now with a lot of things going on.
He's been public speaking the last little bit, so probably I'm sure he will contact you back. I'm sure of it.
Okay.
But yes, he's pretty busy. He's growing really rapidly. The more people hearing about him, the more busy he gets. So
yes, yes. And then I think I met also his partner. He has a partner with him too. Adam,
yes.
That's right. I think I met both of them at the same meeting. So that's really good. Very good, very good. Yes. I'm so glad that things are kind of moving along with you. Now, are you working actively with him then?
Just barely starting. So I'm going to be probably at the end of this month, full-fledged working with him. Yes.
I see.
But I'm just starting to get a feel for, it took a little while to get a feel for what he does. Is he legit, doing all my research. And right now it's just looking more and more better. And the more I get to know him as a person and Adam, it's just really, I really love what they're doing with their charities and helping these charities and how they turn them more into a business. So it's structured different than how most charities are ran. So yeah, and how the money will come in with the business and be distributed. They really set it up more as a business. So I love that they're doing that and helping. Yeah. I would love to hear, your take on that too. I would love to hear your feedback as well. Because
yes, I met with them actually in between our meetings. I think sometime within the last maybe a couple of weeks. Let me see. I am sure it is in February that I met with him. Yes, February the 8th. I met with him and his partner. And so we did have a chance to kind of talk about his two programs. I think he presented two programs. One is like the basic one about just setting up the organization. The other one is a lot more because that included marketing. And the pricing in the first one is about $6,000. And the second one was about $20,000. So, so I think we didn't exactly finish the entire discussion, and I asked him about when he got started, and it sounds very exciting. I mean, it seems that it flows very easily for him from the very beginning of him having the concept to the time now that he's setting it up. So I think that's really good. And I also asked him if I could talk to some of his clients that he is already working with, so then I can see how it works. So I think that's what all that probably we have got to the last time. And then he said his larger program is able to get funding from Google to do the Google ads. So I guess whatever money you get from them, it will be spent back onto their platform.
So what that does, from what I've explained to me, is it advertises your charity and brings more funds to that charity by the advertisements on Google.
Right.
And so also with that though, there's other grant writing that is in that too, that you can ask about for funding for your charity as well. And then on the Google grant, it is all for advertising for the charity. But it also helps you advertise for like crowdfunding. It helps you advertise for there's quite a few other ways he uses the Google grant to help draw attention and funding to you. And so as I learn more, Rose, I can always touch base with you and maybe be on a Zoom with them too.
I see. Yes. On the charities that you have referred to him, how maybe how much have they already done, or
nothing yet. It was just this week I started referring charities to him.
No, I'm saying that the charity themselves, are they already pretty established? They have already been working, or they have?
No, they're different. They're all different. Like the one, the Victory Home one has probably been going for over 10 years.
Okay.
The ones in Africa, probably 8 to 10 years. The one that is just starting up in her community, the community center, it's not even began yet. It is brand new. Let's see. And then there's a church. They've been established for many, many years, but the board has to approve everything. So we're talking to the pastor, and the pastor has to take it to the board, and the board has to approve it. There's a process. Right. So, and I'm just learning all of this. I donate to charities. I've never ran a charity. So I am interested in what he can do for them. From what I've heard, just through some Zoom meetings with him and Adam, I'm just learning all the ins and outs of their business. How is it they help? And I think he has different financial structures though, Rose, from what he told me. So I might have to go back and re-talk to him on that. They might be rethinking too on how to assist charities as well. And then did you hear about his book?
Which one?
So he's also using a book that's going to be published. And when the book is published, you'll be published in the book with your story and your charity. And that's another way to get your name out there and your charity and draw people to you as well. And so that's another way he's going to draw attention to the charities. I'm just getting started, getting my feet wet in it. When I learn more, I'll give you a call.
That'd be wonderful.
Set up on a Zoom. I might need more information from you, and then take it to Joe. And but he probably should have called you back already. But he has been speaking. I understand.
He probably is very busy. Because for me, I'm actually not very ready for either one of the programs, because the first one is setting up the organization. Right now, where I am is really at the very beginning, at the concept level. So what I have is the thought. I know what I want to do. I know it's going to be a nonprofit, and I know the audience or the clients. Right. I know my specific target clients: low-income seniors, single mothers, and their dependent kids. Those are the three groups. And of course, the mothers and the kids are related. Those are the kids of those mothers. And the seniors are completely unrelated to the single mothers. They don't even know them. And so my idea is to have them in the same community. Doesn't mean the same building. And actually, if I were to raise funds with federal money, they do not allow seniors to be in the same building with the single mothers and the kids. Single mothers and the kids, of course, will be together, right? We're not going to separate them. So my thought is, I am thinking about servicing like 200 seniors. They could be couples, husband and wife, or they could be two separate singles in a room that they be roommate, of course, same sex, all that stuff. Okay. So there will be 200 seniors. Figuring two people in a room, we are talking about 100 rooms. Okay. And then we have 200 single mothers, and with the kids, which could be at least 200, one for each parent, or could be 2 or could be 3 kids, right? The single mother could have more than 1 kid. So that's why from kids standpoint, it would be 2 to 4 kids. Or 200 to 400 kids. And that's a large number. If you imagine a school with 400 kids, it's a pretty big school. But they will be together. The mother and the kids will be in the same room. Okay. So we're talking about 200, most likely 200 rooms, because there will be 200 single mothers. At first, I was thinking about 2 single mothers in the same room, but that might be a little bit more complication because they have the kids and okay, all right. So I say 200 rooms, and you fit your kids in there, as long as, so you have 1 room for your family. So that's how the living arrangement. And then, of course, they will be sharing meals. They won't be each one, doing their own cooking. There probably will be too many kitchens around. So there will be a main dining hall that people will get together, like in tables. You can have a table with the two seniors, maybe with a single mother, maybe two single mother with the kids. There will be one table, right? A nice little family. It's not like a huge, big, it's a big dining hall, but then you have little tables that you have your daily dinners. May not be 3 meals a day, but at least the dinners together. So there will be the family dinner in the evening. And in the morning breakfast, they're kind of like open depending on whose time it is. So they could be all separate. Lunch, again, they could be also all separate. But it's a dinner time that they all get together. It's like a family. Yeah. And during the day, there could be activities. The seniors could work with the kids, depending on the age of the kid, and then the health situation of the seniors. But I am kind of qualifying the seniors that they are independent. With seniors, there are several categories. There's independent living, there is the assisted living, and there's the skilled nursing. Those are not the two groups that I'm looking at. I'm looking at the independent seniors. So they are able to take care of themselves, and they can work with the kids. So with the kids, they could be doing different things. There could be games, depending on the age of the kids too. They could be doing games, they could be working on the computers, they could be working in the garden, and they could be involved in different kinds of activities. So during the daytime is the activities time. And then the seniors could also have their own program too. They could have their exercise program, not always with the kids. So there will be times with the kids and times just with their own group, or maybe times by themselves too. So then there are options. So then the day is kind of occupied, but not too busy. So there will be time for relaxation and time for activities. So they will be supporting each other so that the seniors will not be totally lonely and depressed. That's the situation we have right now. And the kids would not be unsupervised, and they would have someone to talk to when the mother is totally busy, with a single mother. You can imagine that. So then someone will be watching the kids, keeping them occupied, someone to talk to, like a grandfather or a granny, someone to love them. So they would have someone to talk to work with, so they won't be running around outside with other influences. So then that would help them to grow, or maybe help them with the homework, because those kids are still having to go to school. Yes. So therefore, there will be both groups, the seniors and the kids. They will be occupied, and they would have hope. They would have love and relationship within them. Yes. And then that will leave the single mothers who was really totally stressed a chance to be able to go out, find something they really like, get some job training into an area that they're interested in. Or maybe they can continue schooling, finish the degree. They could be very talented, but they just don't have the time. So they can finish the degree, maybe find a nice job, and then they may find someone they really like. I mean, they're still young, and start a new family, right?
You are so adorable. You are so adorable. Yeah, I wonder, have you ever talked to Health and Welfare about your idea? Because they work with both of those groups, Health and Welfare. Yeah, and it would be interesting to talk to them and say, have you seen this structure before? What do you see with the structure? What would you recommend I do? How to get this going? They might have a lot of resources for you as well, Rose.
What is Health and Welfare?
Health and Welfare is like, they give like WIC to low-income moms with kids. It's like food stamps and different things. I think they also, I could be wrong, but I think they also do that for the elderly. And they also help provide, they do not provide the housing, but they know all the resources that provide the housing. So they're kind of like the hub. Yeah. And I think through Health and Welfare is where the government sends money for single mothers. And I think, I could be wrong, but I think even for your seniors that qualify for that.
Now, is that a government program when you say health and welfare?
It's a government agency.
A government agency? The agency actually is called Health and Welfare?
Yep. In our town, that's what it's called. I think it's national though. I think it's a national thing.
Is that a federal program?
Is it federal? I'm not sure if it is. A lot of their programs, a lot of the programs though, they have like WIC and food stamps, that is federal. So they could possibly be federal. I'm not really sure.
Okay, I've heard about food stamp, but have not heard about WIC. Sometimes the federal program, they would kind of delegate it to the county.
Okay.
And then they might go from the county to the city level. So I think it really depends on, which program, how they work. I mean, they all have different channels.
Yeah.
So, so if you know of maybe an agency or a phone number or something, I can always call them up and see how they administer it and if they know anything about California.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Is that where you're located? Is California?
Yes, I'm right in California, and the city that I really like to have this in is in Alameda. That's the city where I live. And I don't think they have this program, this type of program that I'm talking about in the area. The cities that are closest, I'm right in Alameda. Then the next city very close is Oakland. And then the next one across the bay is San Francisco, which is a very, very big city. And then the one a little bit up further is Berkeley. Those the three cities are very close to each other. And but as far as I know, there is no such program in the area. Now, there are other intergeneration programs in Los Angeles, which is a little bit south of San Francisco, LA, we call that. And there is a little bit different. There is I think it's the LGBT program. So they operate a little bit differently. And I know there are other programs up in Portland where they have like foster parents, seniors, and foster kids. And they have a little, maybe an apartment or unit, like in separate single houses, maybe a duplex, maybe 3 or 4 units in one unit. And then they have in each flat, there's one family. They actually live together family by family. The adopted parents, they call foster parents, and the foster kids, they live together. They're not related, they're foster parents and kids. So they are, I think they're kind of paid or subsidized with the housing and then the food. And then they have the seniors also living in the same complex, and the seniors would come over during the day and maybe help with the kids. So then the foster parents can go to work because the foster parents are not retired yet. And whatever they get is not enough to cover everything. So that's one model. So that's still intergeneration. They got the seniors, they got the parents, and then they got the kids. But all three of them are not related. And they operate in little houses. So each one have their own unit, their own, meals and, their own little schedules. But they might have programs that they kind of come together. They might have a senior programs or seniors come together, the kids program and so forth. So that is a little bit different way of working it. And I think there are other programs in other parts of the country that also have this intergenerational way of operating. Some of them operate like a village that I haven't, looked into a whole lot. So, so as far as the organization, I'm thinking about right now is still in the thinking stage. There's nothing physical, nothing on paper, no contract, nothing signed yet. So I know exactly what I want to do. I kind of describe the the operation to you, and I know why I want to do it. Exactly that was the reason, so that it will provide for all three groups, so they have a much better future actually, and it would also help the entire community. When you have healthy kids, healthy, young parents, and the seniors, they can, age, still be able to contribute rather than, like sitting here waiting to be waited upon, which is kind of very depressing to do so.
There's a lot they can still contribute,
right,
to each other even.
Yes.
The mom needs them. They need that interaction. I can see where that is a really good fit.
They can be much more healthier. When they feel better, they be healthier. So there'll be less burden on the entire, healthcare system. So in a way, it benefits not just them, it benefits the entire community and the whole country. I mean, when we have less expenses, and by them being able to work in the organization, there is lower cost of operation because the seniors will be doing some of the work, the kids depending on age, and then the single mothers, they could also contribute. Because
Rosie, Rose, you're describing my apartment complex is a lot like what you're describing. I'm just sitting here scratching my head thinking, oh my goodness, she keeps describing my apartments. So I have an elder, not really that old of a lady. She's not really, really old, but she's got grandkids that are pretty old, And I have new moms in there. I have even 18-year-olds that have barely moved there, and they're scared. They're scared. It's their first time living on their own. And she's like the mama of the whole place.
Yeah.
And I have a garden area. They all garden.
Yes.
And they get together for barbecues. And she just is the mom. She'll have craft night where they all go to her house and they all craft. And then they'll have tea at another person's apartment. And it's just this fun little community that they began at my apartments. And so it's interesting listening to you talk. I'm like, that naturally just took place at my apartments. The young moms, their little kids are running around and she's disciplining the kids, as the mom just sits there like, wow, they listen to you.
Yes, that me.
Because she's got a lot of knowledge. She's got a lot of knowledge. She's been through her kids already. She's been through her grandkids. And so she has a lot of knowledge to give. And she feels like she just is needed there. And she's always busy. Her whole day is busy helping, or in the garden, plucking around. But they, on the garden stuff, it's too much for her. They pitch in and take care of her side of the garden.
That's good.
And then they harvest together and share, corn or the, cucumbers or whatever they get out of the garden. So it's interesting. It's interesting because I have watched it with my own eyes just transform just naturally, just a wholesome, natural process of people needing people and helping one another. And you can do it with low income housing too. You can fit them together and provide some of that too. It's a beautiful concept. It's just a beautiful concept, and there is a need, definitely a need for that. That's beautiful.
Right. So as I said, according to Tony's formula, I already got the what I want to do. I know exactly why, because you see the benefits already, right? You don't even have to purposely do it. It kind of naturally grow together. So now what I need is, instead of the how, I need the who, the person who's able to put all this together.
That's why I'm scratching my head thinking, I wonder if health and welfare, just let me just look on my phone, not to be rude. I don't want to ruin your time here.
That's okay.
If someone logs on, go ahead. But let me just find out.
Sure, no problem.
Is health and welfare a federal program? Okay. So it is different in every state. It's in the Idaho area, it's health and welfare. This says United States Department of Health and Human Services. It's the same. It's the same. So they deal with Medicaid and low income people and insurance programs. Federal and state health insurance programs. I'm just kind of reading really quick through here. Welfare and temporary assistance for the needy. So I don't know. Let me look up their programs. Give me just a second here.
Okay, I really appreciate that.
Okay, here, welfare programs in the United States provide assistance to low-income families, especially children living in poverty. The 6 major welfare programs are EITC, housing assistance, Medicaid, SNAP, SSI, and TANF. What are the 6 major welfare programs for the U.S.? Temporary assistance for the needy family. That's the TANF. The food stamp program, FSP. The supplementary security income, SSI, Medicaid, housing assistance, and earned income tax credits. Now, let me check, because I was under the understanding that they also help the elderly. So just a second.
Sure.
Does health and welfare help the elderly?
According to Idaho Department of Health and Welfare, idaho.gov, this agency provides solutions for seniors, people with disabilities, and caregivers aimed at securing safe, healthy, community-supported, and independent living options through comprehensive information, assistance, advocacy, and planning efforts.
Did you hear that? Did you?
Yes.
Okay, so they do. They provide solutions for seniors and disability people with caregivers, which that could be your single mothers. In fact, that happened just at my apartments. One of my tenants, a sweet little girl, she just barely got married. They're 18, and she got Bell's palsy, where half her face went just dead. And she's having a lot of health problems from that. And she's lost a lot of work. And so her work has cut her back severely on hours. And she was very stressed out. And this elderly lady I just told you about was struggling with her caregiver. And she asked Health and Welfare, can I choose a caregiver? And they said she has to be certified through us, but you send her to our office, we'll certify her, and then she can walk across the street and help you. And so that's happened. That actually happened, and she's working for her right now. And it's a beautiful, beautiful relationship. They're just happy as peas in a pod right now. So here's what this will provide. It'll provide caregivers to your elderly and maybe jobs to your single moms. They have to get trained, though, by Health and Welfare. Community support and independent living options, comprehensive information assistance, advocacy, and planning efforts. So like, this lady isn't to where she needs any physical things. Well, yeah, actually she did just get a free walker. She gets free car assistance if she needs drove to and from the doctor's appointments. I'm trying to think of what, like, there's quite a bit that she could get if she needed it. And it's based on her need, the type of support that they will hand to her. So that's, and if any kind of food bank is associated with you, you probably will get food from there too.
Yes.
And so it's now just, Rose, connecting with like these government agencies, like I just told you about.
Right.
I would go set up an appointment with them and just say, here's my idea. What do you see as far as what you could contribute, like, to my program? Or what do you do, where do I go? Or maybe they could start giving you some resources of places to go to help you get this established and going. You might, some people do not pay their taxes, and you'll find abandoned buildings, that are in good shape. but they're behind on taxes. And a lot of times, if you have something like what you're talking about, the government might cut you a deal on those kind of buildings based on what you're doing, because you're giving back to the community. It's not for yourself. It's not for your business. It's for them. And so you could go to your county assessor's office, I believe, and you can ask, is anyone in the rears on apartment complex or where they haven't paid their taxes? I don't know if it would go there or if it'd be in the banks. I'm not sure where you would go to find that information. But some of these plats would know that. They're very smart on how to find out how people, when they don't pay their taxes, these kind of buildings that are sitting there. There's a building that is beautiful, absolutely, and it's really old. It's really old in our town, and I've loved it for years. And I went and looked at it to buy it, and they said, "Oh, it's so far behind in taxes," and it was a lot. It was a lot that they were far behind in taxes. And back then, I didn't know very much, and so I kind of let it go. But an investor just picked it up. He paid all the taxes that were due and got this building for a steal right on our main street. And it's a beautiful, tall building. And he's remodeling it. So I know that if you tap into the right people in your community with your idea, and I would go to your county commissioners and different things and just set up a meeting with them and say, here's my idea. And they might also have some local resources for you to go and get some of these places and tell them, I need a building infrastructure. I need any type of support from our community that you could give me, or knowledge you could give me. And maybe they would be a good resource for you as well. And they would know kind of how to package it up for you. So your idea comes true.
Wow.
Yeah, I've seen it at my apartments. It is beautiful. It's so fun. I kid you not, it's so fun to walk into an apartment and just talk to my tenant and find out that, oh my gosh, my other tenant that was really having a rough time keeping her job is now so happy working for her little neighbor. And she just walks across our little driveway there. She doesn't have to drive anywhere. They're best friends. They giggle while she's cleaning her house or helping her bathe. I mean, it really is a beautiful situation where one another can help each other. In fact, I had a Spanish family move in there from Mexico, and it's very little English, and they were struggling. The kids were struggling with their homework. They were just really, especially during COVID. And this old lady, she would just sit, she was so patient. She would just sit down under a tree with the kids and she would talk really slow and she would help them with their homework. And she knew the teachers' names. I don't know how she knew all this, but she was telling me that this teacher is not teaching this very slow to this kid and he needs it to be taught slower. And so it was interesting how she kind of was like, they're not doing it right. She was out to protect that little boy and help him with English and so it can be done. I know it. I've seen it with my own eyes at my apartment complex.
But only one senior, right?
Only one. I need more, it sounds like. My apartments are single level. And I look at them all the time, and all I can think of is these are perfect for seniors. Because it's all flat level. They can pull right up. They don't have very much walking room to get into their apartment. Their apartments are all flat level. There's no steps anywhere. And I just have a really simple apartment complex.
That's great.
They can barbecue out on the lawn. They can have their little gardens out there. And all I can say right now is just, for single people usually. But this lady, she just needed a place to live. She fell in love with my apartments, and her income at the time matched what she could pay. I mean, she was a great tenant, always has been. But over the years, her health is starting to decline, and so she's getting more and more government assistance. And I'm watching this as you're talking, and I'm like, this is going on right now, just naturally. People people will it is human nature.
Yeah.
And Tony said this, right? It
Right.
is human nature to help
Mm-hmm.
and to give.
Yes.
And it fulfills. You
Mhm.
can see the fulfillment. The
Mhm.
little girl cleaning for the lady, and the
Yes.
lady giggling with the girl. They
Uh-huh.
feed off each other, and it's a beautiful,
Yes.
it's such a beautiful environment to be
Right.
in.
Right.
You know?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And then the
Yeah.
lady also coming out to help with the other kids too.
Yep. And then they take care of her. They take care of her garden, and she loves to sit in the garden and talk to all the people while they weed for her or water.
Right, right. Yeah.
And they make, they make her salsas for her. They make they can for her. And then they always shovel her driveway or her walkway. Always.
Yes.
She's never had to do that. Never, ever. Her neighbor, that's a single gal, she's been at our apartment complex for about 10 years.
Wow.
So she's about 28 now. She entered when she barely turned 18, barely. She was so young. She was so scared. But she's pretty much grown up there, and her and this little old lady, she's like, I clean her driveway, I get her mail, I run her places. So, and then, they have each other's keys. If they lock each other out, they each one have each other's keys. So I don't have to go over there to help them get in.
Yeah, right. Oh boy, I forgot my key here.
Yep. So it's kind of a funny situation that I can see your dream, because I live it. I drive over to my apartments, and I like the garbages that go out on a certain day. She always has one person at the complex that'll take her garbage for her. It's one of them always, and it's different people. Watch out for her. One day when she was driving, her car got stuck. Oh. And I saw the one young single guy. He's a hot hunk. Yeah. I saw him out there helping her get unstuck. And it was so cute. It's just so cute. Everyone helps, and gives each other cookies or, Christmas this and that. And it's fun. It's a beautiful situation.
Yes. How many units do you have over there?
I have 11, but I have a half city block that could be developed. Yeah.
I see. Are you going to build on that?
I don't know. Tony Robbins had made a comment about, if you don't love what you're doing, you need to get out. And I love my tenants. I love people, but my talents lie elsewhere. And so I have struggled owning these for quite some time. So we put an offer out there to investors, and right now so there's an investor who wants to give us our asking price. So she might be purchasing them, but she loves the situation with all of them working. She's been around, she's seen the interactions. Yes. And so she's like, I don't know that I would change this cute little setup that you have here. I would just keep things like this going, but I don't know, it would be more in her hands than mine. And that's the only part that's tough. It's a tough part to hand that over. We just have other ideas for our money and other dreams. And so it's a tough one. It's really tough because I love the people.
Yes.
I love the people.
Yes. Now, have you considered developing it?
Yes, many times, because it's a huge, there is a huge growth in our little local community, massive growth, and our housing just can't keep up with it. We just so these apartment complexes are just loaded. Like, I put an ad last month for one of my apartments, and I had 2,000 people write to me. Wow. I had let's see, I think it was 35 people show up for the showings. And I had about 15 applicants that qualified. Wow. So yeah, there's a huge demand, and our rates of rent just keep doubling and doubling and doubling, trying to keep up with all this. And people can pay, right now a truck driver is making $22 an hour. Wow. And someone working on farm equipment like welding and stuff, $90 an hour. Oh, and my goodness. So they can kind of pay that higher rent, and there's a lot of jobs around us.
So how much rent are you collecting for each unit?
So right now we're low. we're collecting 595 for the 1-bedroom units. We need to be 650.
You actually have a lot more room to grow, sounds like, because of the environment, the economy of the environment. And how big is the total area that you are able to develop?
Well, it's an entire half city block we have left to develop, plus the garden area. If someone wanted to develop that area, they could develop, like, there's a whole half city block, and then over there's probably, I don't know how to describe how many lots. I don't even know how many lots, like 4 lots in there, where you could put like storage units and probably another complex maybe back in there. And then we have an empty building as well on the property. I was going to make into a laundromat. And then we have at each ends of our apartments, you could build out another room. So you could turn 4 of them into 2 bedrooms instead of 1 bedroom. So, and it's our apartments are a little bit small when they have kids. That's I've noticed that. And that's the biggest thing people are saying is, boy, just a little bit bigger of an apartment would be perfect, is what they're saying. So, but to me, it fits them. It's easy to heat. It's cheap. Idaho is very cheap on electricity. We're very cheap here. Very affordable electricity. And so I think that, of course, everyone wants a little more room. Everyone wants bigger space. But I think what they will find out is, and they have to pay more for that. Where my little 1 bedrooms work really well, unless the kids are bigger. Like, I've seen them squeeze in there, but I always think that they might need a 2 bedroom once the kids get, around, 4 or 5. They need their own little, like a 2 bedroom. Kids can share a bedroom. You can have 3 kids in a bedroom, but it's just a little bit tight, I've noticed. But the single moms that struggle, they're the ones that are like, we'll make it work. We'll, because they can only afford so much,
Yes.
So,
That's right. Yeah. So it looks like you actually have an asset with a lot of potential.
There's a lot of potential.
Right. And then you also have a model that could work.
Yeah.
So, and that looks like it could actually be developed into a community.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 Especially where we're located. The property is like 2 blocks from the river. So they could walk. And on our river, we have a walkway. They could walk along our river. And then we have just across the road from there, we have a huge community park right there. And it's just a really, really pretty area. And then when you come to my apartments, they're like 6-7 minutes from Walmart. They're like 8 minutes from our hospital. They're like 5 minutes from our grocery stores. So it's kind of in the hub of all these little places. So it's even positioned in a really nice, quiet little community, but really close to all the things that people need to get to.
Yeah. So you actually have a very good location too.
Yeah. I have a good.
You have like plenty of room to grow, because you only got maybe 1/3 of that kind of developed, and then you have at least 2/3 to maybe 3/4 still to be developed. Then the question is, one, do you want to do it? And if so, that would be the resources, and who would you be able to partner with? Because this seems like a pretty big project, right?
It is. It's a big project, to build on and to run a project kind of like how you described. You really need time. And right now, and this is another reason I'm thinking about selling, is my kids have lived on pause for these apartments for a long time, because we were not wealthy when we bought them. We had to fix them up slowly. And we had, it was a tremendous work to get them up and running to where they're at now. And so I've noticed over the years how my kids will, like, like Halloween. We're all ready to go celebrate Halloween, and they're like, oh, a breakdown at the apartments. So we go to the apartments. That's where we celebrate Halloween, you know, which our tenants are wonderful to my kids. They're amazing to my kids.
Yes.
But it's not, my kids are like, you know, it just, every time we go camping, if there's an apartment thing we need to do. And so my kids, it's just a phase in our lives where we're like, you know, and plus, here's another thing, Tony Robbins says to be diversified. And we are 95% real estate. You know, it's all there. That's all of our savings. Everything is right there in that. And so we would, well, 85%, I shouldn't say 95%. It's about 85% we're in real estate, and we really need to diversify is another reason why we're kind of like, no, it's time to sell. You know, it's time to give it to someone that loves real estate, would love these people. And yeah, it's a hard one to hand the baton, because I've created such a beautiful atmosphere with the people there.
Yes.
You know, it's in fact, anyone that comes to visit is like, I want to live here. I want on your waiting list. I would want grandma to bring me cookies after working a hard day.
Right.
You know, and you know, the single guys get her cookies. You know, everybody knows her. Everybody and everybody calls her grandma or mom, or you know, they have nicknames for her.
That's right.
So it's just, I see exactly what you're saying. I mean, it really is the key, this little environment to have people in, and they feed off one another. It's a fulfilling place to live.
Yes.
And I think that's why my tenants stay so dang long. It's because they make it a home, and they cry. You know, I've gotten married. I have to move, you know, they're crying. I don't want to leave. My husband doesn't, you know, he wants to own a home.
Right. Yes.
But I've had baby showers. I've had weddings I've been invited to. I've seen kids literally grow up at my apartments.
Yes.
You know, it is fulfilling.
Right.
It's just right now my kids are like, what about us? You know.
No, how old are your kids now?
10 and 12.
Oh, okay. Now, have you considered having a property manager?
I have. I have. And we have a new one starting up in our area, and I don't know her very well. But she's one that we've kind of thought about, but she wants us to sign a 2-year contract with her, and you have no say. And that's all apartment it's not just her, it's all property management companies. Like they're a year to 2 years out with a contract, and you really have no say on who they put in your apartment complex.
Okay. Now, how many tenants do you have there?
11.
Okay. Among all your tenants, do you see anyone with ability like a handyman type, like can fix little things when things, the water is not running or leaking, or the heater doesn't work, that kind of stuff? Do you have anyone there?
I have looked. I thought I would just train a tenant. And I have not found a handyman, because that's the number one need, is a handyman. And in my local area, I know of a couple handymen, but the problem is they're busy. So when I need them, they're like, I'll get to you. And I'm like, you can't just get to me. I need you now.
Right.
My tenant is waiting. And so that's kind of been the issue. Or if they go on vacation, that's an issue. And then people taking over payroll, or, the little things, the paperwork and the different things of property management. I thought about just training someone there to do it. The problem is the people have literally formed a community.
Yes.
And they look out for one another.
Exactly.
And it's hard for me to hold people accountable. If they're a tenant holding someone accountable, I just don't think that's a good environment for them or my apartments to be in. So they need to be removed. So it's more ran as a business, not as friends, if that makes sense.
Yes. What you have there is actually a family. It's a big family.
Yes.
And you already have one person there who is pretty much quite in charge. That lady, everyone is listening to her, helping her. So she would be a natural to take that role The only thing she can't do is fix all your little, leaks and heater and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's where you would really need to have someone, maybe a young person who is there, or someone who is able to, a handyman type of person, because that is the person. I mean, when there are problems in the apartment, you would have to call that person too, or are you actually fixing it yourself?
We're fixing it ourselves at this point.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah. Well, we've learned to be good, but yeah, it's
Oh, hi, how are you?
amazing. This
Yes,
is Nick.
great. Yes, nice meeting you. I'm talking to your mom.
Well, I'll leave you guys to it. Bye.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Bye-bye. Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah. From the way you talk about it, you really love that baby. It's almost like your baby, because you have grown it for what, 10, 12 years?
Oh, it's probably 14, maybe 15 years.
They're
No,
older
it's
than
probably 14 years. I think we've had them.
Yes. Hi, how are you
Bye-bye.
doing? Nice meeting you. That's another baby there.
This is my other baby.
Hi, yes. Hello. They say,
Bye, sweetheart.
who's mom talking to? That's so much fun.
Yeah. Mom talking about the apartments again.
Right. Hey, that's my oldest child. You guys came afterwards.
Yep. My apartments and then my babies.
Right. I'm feeding my baby with this baby.
Yep. Oh man, it's just been a crazy wild ride. But
yeah. So from your standpoint, it kind of really feels like you are kind of giving up your own child. It's almost, because you are so attached to this baby. Plus, you have already grown the baby.
I see it as an investment too, and that's this was the whole reason we got into real estate, was to get residual income, and then put it away for our savings. That was our savings plan. Now we're, after Tony Robbins and learning from him, we're like, this isn't going to work. We need to do this differently. And so and it's time, Rose. It's just so time. It has taken so many years of dedication. And in fact, it's a joke. It literally is a joke at our home that the apartments get nicer windows than us, and they get nicer cupboards than us, and nicer flooring than us. And it's like, yeah, it's time for these apartments to be handed off to someone who will love them and help them grow and help them thrive. And, because there's a lot of space to develop, and there's a lot of potential for someone that really wants that potential. And for us to thrive in the other directions in our areas we've always dreamed of. I've always dreamed about traveling and seeing the world, and then showing that to my kids, because we live in such a small town. Our town has such small ways of thinking. If that makes any sense to you, we're about 10 years behind everyone. About shopping trends and computers, and just a second. Let me let my go on, buddy. My dog goes to bed when the kids go to bed, and so he's whining. He's like, they left me in here with mom talking about the apartments. Get me out of here.
Now, what's the time difference between us now? You must be ahead of me.
I'm an hour. I'm at 9 o'clock, 9:17 right now.
All right.
So
okay. That's good. That's good. Yes. I can see that. Now, do you have a lot of equity in the property?
Yeah.
A lot?
Yeah, they're completely paid off.
Wow.
And the right now, what happened to the little town that these apartments are in, they've made a cap on apartment complexes. And so right now, anyone that owns land that's been grandfathered in has a higher value, because you can develop on. So they won't allow any more building of apartment complexes. So there's a value there, and there's a value in our area is just, what we did is we had all these factories move into our town. We do not have the manpower to sustain all those massive factories. And so people were being bused here just to work here.
Oh my goodness.
They're trying to move here. And so, and then Californians or New York, people from all over Texas, they're buying up a lot of our farms and our land here because we're so behind the 8th ball, we don't know our value. And so they come here with all their money and we're like, wow, that's a good deal. So we take it,
yes,
you know, and so we have a lot of those people moving here too. And then they like our quiet little environment. So they're bringing their family, you know, their moms, their dads, their
I see.
siblings,
So on the lot that you have, are you allowed to develop, to build more building? You can?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Wow.
that property has been around since 1960. So it's been grandfathered in, and we've been paying taxes on commercial lots. So yeah, that's why it is and especially the area we're in is just all houses around us. It's just a quiet little community. And then our town surrounds that. So we're not very far from everything, but yet in a quiet little area of it, and right near the river, not very far from the river, where you'll see bald eagles fly over. You'll see just sunsets on the river. So and our mountains surround our river. So it's really pretty area. Most people say it's one of the prettiest areas they've been in. And we're not far from Sun Valley. You know, we're about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, depending on how you drive, to get to Sun Valley, which that's a fancy resort where celebrities and stuff live. Tony Robbins lives there. So fancy people live there. So that draws people coming through our little area, you know, to get there. So
yes.
Yeah.
Now, your location could sound like a developer's dream.
I would think, yeah.
So the question is, how are you going to connect with them? Because if they know how to develop, a site, you cannot create a site. You know, real estate is all about location. So you got the location. The only thing is you may not know how to develop it into a something that is very, very valuable. I mean, you personally may not have the ability to do so. It's just like me, you know, I got the idea, but I have no idea how to do it. So I'm looking for that person. So if you have that person who really knows how to develop the location, it might be able to create into something much, much more valuable. Then you just take that as is and sell it to someone else who may or may not know how to develop it. Do you understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yes. And then with the Platt family, you know, the Tony Robbins, you know, connection, I am absolutely sure there are really very, very knowledgeable developers there who knows exactly how to do it, because you actually have a very desirable piece of real estate.
Yeah.
So, well, think about it. There's no hurry.
Yeah, I'm not in a hurry, but I'm definitely thinking that I need to diversify, and it would be nice to have a little bit more flexibility in life. And I even thought about a partnership with people where they could do an assisted living center type situation and still have my apartments to fund that, because they're cash flowing right now. So
yeah, joint ventures, partnerships, development, because some developers, they can actually, you don't actually have to come up with the money because you already have the real estate, and they will even pay you. Not only, so there are different kinds of deals that you can have because of their size. and the experience, they are able to do that. And whereas individual investors may not have the bandwidth to do, a big project. Sounds like your location could be very good for a huge project, not a little one, because you have a huge lot and you have a great location. From the way you describe it, it's next to the river, it's close to all those major, when you say Walmart, Walmart do not pick location easily. They always pick the prime locations. So if your property is close to Walmart, that has a lot of things to say about your location.
Yeah, it's just like from the movie theater, the shopping centers, the eateries.
Right. Just like McDonald's. When McDonald's builds a store,
it's right they close there too. Yeah.
Are you close to that? Oh my God.
all of those.
You have a prime location. Yeah, I would really, really encourage you to talk to some of the people who do real estate development. Recently, I bought a few properties. I sold a rental property in Alameda. I don't want to buy another property because I don't want to go through the managing. So instead, I do something, it's called a 1031 exchange, 1031 DST. What that is that there are developers who bought a piece of land and they built a huge building. The buildings they built, we're talking about like $50 million or maybe $100 million. And of course, they are very tall buildings. And they're also like overlooking like a river, okay, which seems.
Yeah, I was gonna say we don't have anything like that here.
Right.
Our bank doesn't even come close to that size. That's our biggest building.
Right. So you can see that the developers, they can really put in like, very large complexes, and that could be very, very valuable. So, but they are the one who has the knowledge and the capability of doing that. Yeah. So by being able to, get in touch with them or talk to them, there could be situations. And plus you say that your property is completely paid off. If there's no loan, there's also another possibility is getting a refinance and cash out. So with a cash out, you can do whatever you want to with a cash out.
We have thought about that too. We thought about we just refinance them, pull the money out, and keep them, and build onto those other lots, or but then we're still in real estate. We're not diversifying. So we're trying to.
No, you take the money and not put in the real estate. You take the money and invest.
Invest in, yeah.
Right. Invest in other like stocks and bonds. And so then you have the real estate here and you also have your portfolio of investments. Right.
Yeah.
So that's the other option. But I'm thinking that in your situation, it's actually really good to get someone in there and do like a joint venture, a real big development. That you probably need someone to do that,
well, just like me. I see one other issue with my apartments is in our area, there is very, very, very few assisted living centers. And right now the baby boomers are aging. They don't want to leave our little town. They like our little town. Their kids are in our little town. And I'm seeing all of these baby boomers in big homes thinking they're going to downsize, which they could move into, like 2 bedrooms or something.
Right.
And then you can have an assisted living center to the other part of the property with the other half city block, because it's all in one unit. They're not separate. It's all one piece. And so my thinking is you could have an assisted living center very easily. It's so close to the hospital. It's very close to our interstate, and of course, just good location. So I keep thinking that is the potential, even more so than apartment complex. I can see just assistant living center. And the Platts have a meeting coming up just for assisted living centers. And so I'm going to be on that, and I'm going to learn a little bit about that. But I don't know if I want to do all that because that's not my talent, and that's not, and I love my apartments, but I have been on hold with my talents where I want to see my life go. And
what do you really want to do though? What is it that you really want?
A long time ago, I used to win people over for companies, joint ventures, sales, growth opportunities that they need, but they needed someone to win and influence the other party over. And so I want to go back into that. I really, but that takes a lot of concentration, and I can't be a mom and do that and do apartments. I can't do it all, or I do none of them very well. That's what I've learned. So to diversify and to go with how I'm built, I feel like it would be better to probably move in an area of, parting ways, or being, having someone else step in and run it, and we own, I don't know really what the picture looks like, but just trying to fill it out right now and see.
Yeah, I can see this also as a lot of joint venture going on too, with assisted living, or actually there are 3 stages. There is the independent living, people who already, all the kids grown, they are just all by themselves in one big house. They might not want to be all by themselves, so they might want to kind of, move out of the big house, a 3,000 square foot house, and maybe into a 2-bedroom. Okay. So those people are still doing things. So they would be the independent living. Then when they get a little bit more frail, then they might go into the assisted living. Then they need people to, help more. And then the 3rd level would be the skilled nursing. Now you may or may not want to get into skilled nursing.
No, I don't know that I want to do, there's enough room for that, but I don't know that I want to do that. I would just keep it at the other 2 levels. I believe that would be what,
yes. Now
you don't really, these apartments, they can be for anything, really. I mean, there's so much opportunity there where, but I'm just sitting back thinking, for me and my husband and my kids, it would be nice to diversify, but we have thought about refinancing. We have, but I think selling is more on my heart, to part ways and close that chapter in my life, and to move into an area where we both thrive. So that's kind of where my heart's at.
Yes. There are many options. What you want to do is probably sit back, think about all the options. And since you're a great connector, I mean, this is actually a super opportunity to connect with a lot of people. I think the reason you feel very stressed, because you're running it as a business operator. You are actually running the operation. What you would like to do is move into the position of a business owner.
Yes.
So then you will be the one who's making the decisions, who is making the connection, and making sure someone is doing the operating part. And so your property actually gives you a whole lot of opportunities. You can move out of the operation of the rental unit, by putting someone in there to manage the day-to-day. And you can also not have to run the assisted living or the independent living, but you set it up as a separate corporation, maybe by yourself, maybe with someone who really knows how to run those operations. I think there's another plat who's trying to run these type of assisted living. She's trying to get several locations and then put it together in a package. So there are people who actually already know how to do that. So since you're very good in connecting, you probably can connect with them. You have actually a lot to offer. You have a very strong hand, because you have so much. You have a lot of the things that they like, they desire, but they don't have. And they also have what you don't have. They have the skill on running it that you do not have. So as a great connector, you can put the 2 together.
Voila!
Yeah.
Perfect life. Yes.
That is a test of your connecting skills.
Yes, that's going to be a test. That's right. That's right. Yeah. The thing I saw with what they were doing is they live away from the businesses.
Mhm.
And what I have witnessed and what other landlords have shown me over the years is
Mhm.
when they work with property management, that
Mhm.
is when you're signing a contract for 2 years out, you see your property go downhill and you really have no say until those contracts are up. And so that's a rough circumstance I've watched over and over and over and over. And so there is a new property management company that just moved in our area. And she actually made a offer on my apartment. So I'm thinking about her offer right now. But it's something that you scratch your head and you go, would I have you property manage my company? You know, and she's just getting going. So I don't really know her ability yet as a property management. So, but some of the larger apartment complexes are hiring her right now. So it'll be interesting to kind of watch and see how that plays out.
Did she put an offer to buy your property or to manage?
She fell in love with my property. When she came to see it, I asked her to manage them.
Right.
And so she came to see them and she's like, I want to buy this. I love this. I love the environment. I love the people. I love this location. I love the growth opportunity. She goes, this is a gold mine. I would like to put an offer in.
She knows that.
Yeah, she's doing that right now. So we'll see where that goes, but yeah.
She already told you this is a gold mine.
It's a gold mine.
You're gonna sell it to me?
Yep. Yeah. And that's when we were like, maybe we should just property manage with you.
That's
you know?
right.
But we need to balance our life plans out. And I think Tony Robbins is right. You have to love and have a passion for what you're doing, you know, and it's just been, I love my tenants, but you know, it's not always, and you've been a landlord, so you know, it's not always sunrises and roses. You get a few people in there that just wear you out and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know how else to get across to you. You owe rent, you know, you're living there.
Let me tell you,
it's not rocket science.
I own property, but I don't manage them.
Yeah.
I have someone else manage them. That's why I still stay sane.
Yeah. And in our little rural area, it's hard to find great people like that. You know, you have a whole lot of people to probably choose from. In our area, I think there's 3 or 4 property management companies, and that's in the town adjacent to us. That's not in our town. And so it's just like, whoo, and then you watch them run some of these apartments and it's like, oh boy.
Oh no.
It's just not good what they're doing, because they're never checking on the apartments. They're putting whoever in there. They don't really care. They don't care about the turnover, you know, and so and they get paid based on turnover, which shocked me. I'm like, you get what from the rent every time you put someone in there?
And 1 month.
Know, it's almost set up for their benefit, and it's just like, how is that going to make me money?
Yes. You know what? The property I own actually have never seen. They are out of state. I bought them unseen. Yes. And I've never seen my property manager. I only interviewed him on the phone. I have never even seen him, not even on Zoom. Maybe I should ask him to come on a Zoom meeting. And he has been managing the property for, I would say, several years now. And the same thing when I hired, the property is in Atlanta. I'm in San Francisco.
Oh.
So when I bought them, I never seen them. It's just a realtor who say, this is a good house. I say, sounds good. And I send someone to go and do a home inspection. And the person is not related to the realtor now. Okay, I hired another home inspector guy. So he went in and he looked at the houses. He said, oh, okay, this looks good. So I say, okay, if you look good, then I'll just buy this one. And then I also hire a property manager, also unseen, on the phone. And he went in and looked at the property and said, well, sounds like something I can manage. I said, good. Since both of you approve, I'll just go ahead and buy it. And so we close escrow. So then the property manager will put in the tenant, and he would manage the tenant. He will go in there, check up the tenant whenever they move in and out. And also maybe once, I don't know how often he goes in to look at it, maybe every 6 months or whatever. So that's how he was managing the property. And that's how I am managing the property. So my managing is not as close as you are. I'm kind of
Wow.
quite a distance.
You're a long ways away.
A long
wow.
way. Yes.
And you just picked,
yeah.
Like, how did you know how good he was as a property manager? How did you know that?
I ask for references. Of course, they will give you people who talks nice about him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And sometimes when I talk to them, I can have a feel. See, two things. If he can give me a reference, that's already saying something good, right? If the person is bad, he's not able to find a reference, right? So he is able to come up with a reference. And I can actually talk to the reference. So when I talk to the person, if someone talks to you and asks you about someone else, if you're really, really happy with that person, you will talk very smoothly, very, very easily. But then if you hesitate or you feel any kind of, not so comfortable, you can't do that. You won't be able to continue the conversation. So by talking to them, then I'll say, okay, I think this one, since 2 people, 3 people said you are good, I asked for 3 references. If all 3 came out that you are good, well, there's a good chance that you are good. So I'm going to hire you. And then we'll try it out. So far, he's doing okay.
Really?
Yeah, I think maybe at least 3 to 5 years. He's been the manager.
Dang.
Now, all those are single family, houses, a condo type of situation.
Yeah.
And I had 8 of them. I have 8 of them in Atlanta, all little different ones in different locations. And the one that I just sold is one property. That one was actually bought by my husband, like 25 years ago, or maybe even 30 years ago. And he was the one who was managing it. So, it doesn't matter, right? He can take care of it. And now he could not because he is really sick. He has Parkinson's. So I end up having to manage the property. And there's only 2 tenants. It's quite a challenge, even with the 2 of them. So I decided, well, I don't think I want to continue this. So I put it up for sale. But the place was really bad because one of the tenants was really not taking care of it. There's all kinds of problems. So the people who come to look at it, they really cut the price down really low. And I say, no, I can't sell it for this price. And then my daughter came along and said, Mom, can I buy it from you at this price? I say, well, okay, if you want to.
She's going to turn into you.
Right. She has to manage them. But she likes them. She likes turning properties, that what are not a very good shape into a really nice apartment. And so I say, okay, this is actually a Victorian house.
Oh.
One of those, and she loves them. I think she has bought like 3 Victorians, including the one that I have. So I say, okay, that's good. That's an opportunity for you. Go right ahead. And then I'll just take the money and I go invest in something else. And that's what I said is I picked like 4 different property and they are all over different places. I think one is Atlanta, maybe a couple of them in Florida. And then I think there's another one in Tennessee. Wow. And of course, I won't be going there to manage them.
Oh, man.
And they are all big, huge buildings that I would never be able to afford to buy or do anything like that. As I said, some of them are like $50 million, that whole building. And one of them is $145 million. I said, okay, that's great. Maybe I only have like a 1% or 2%, which is fine. And they probably will hold it for a few years, maybe, 10 years the most. Maybe less than that, and then they might sell it, and that's fine. They pick their own buyer, and then they sell it, and then they will give me the money, and I can decide whether I want to continue with another one, or I just cash out and then be done with it. So that's how I work with rental property, which is very, very different than your approach.
It's very different because we were like grassroots. We had to learn. In fact, I remember the first time my husband remodeled. We're farmers. He's very good at building machinery and he's very good at farming. But I walked into this apartment and he had gutted it, clear down to the studs. All it was the framing. And I looked at that and I said, we're going to go bankrupt. We're just going to go bankrupt. And he started laughing at me and he's like, we're not going to go bankrupt. He goes, I know how to do this. I'll figure it out. And I'm like, you're going to figure it out.
Yes.
He's like, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it all out. I'll figure out how to drywall. I'll figure out how to lay tile. I'll figure out how to stick in a tub. And I'm like, we're going to go bankrupt. And he did such a good job fixing these apartments, these brand new, beautiful apartments on the river. People will come to us and say, your apartment totally is one of the best in our entire area. And cities around. They said it is so beautiful, the workmanship that you guys have put into these apartments. And we took them from nothing that needed completely gutted, all of them, all 11 needed gutted, and completely brought them up to beautiful, beautiful apartments. And we're always complimented. It doesn't matter how many tenants have lived in there. We open the door and they're like, wow, this is amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. So my husband's pretty talented. He's learned how.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Pretty good.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Whoa.
A lot of stories we've had.
Now, what does he want to do now? If you were to sell all your apartment, what does he want to do? What does he really want to do?
He loves the renewable industry. We have some wind turbines on the farm. And he wants to get into hydro projects because we live on the Snake River. And so there's some hydro projects that are coming. And this is some of the reason we want to sell the apartments, because they're coming available, these hydro projects. It's the older baby boomers ready to sell their businesses. And these are some of the businesses that are coming up for sale. So, and it's 3 times earnings. And, it's everything Tony talked about. It's everything. And so we're sitting here going, okay, maybe this is our time. We've lived that life. Maybe it's time to close that chapter and start this other chapter, So there's those businesses coming available. And then it's interesting with the markets right now. My husband believes that there will be a drop, like they talk about in flat finance.
Yes.
And he's like, I want to get positioned for that. And he said, by the sell of these, I'll get positioned really well. And so I am in agreement with him. I think that, and he's very smart. He's very, very smart. He's always been smart with our finances. And so I think that, I think just with our talents in different areas and our desires in different areas, it might be time to pass the torch to someone that loves our apartments. And we go off these other adventures. In fact, Costa Rica has, they have a apartment complex there, and they make more money than all of our 11 just, and they manage them. They're set up there for the tourists. And you sit back and you scratch your head and think, oh, that's kind of an easier deal than what we've got going. Plus, if we wanted to go there and stay, we have a place,
Right.
So there's all kinds of opportunities out there right now surrounding us. And so
yes.
And then Sun Valley's not far from here, and we go there, and the homes there will rent for like $10,000 for like a weekend. A home, just a simple little cabin, will rent for just an astronomical money. And so it's like you look at that and you think, do you rent that way? There's just all kinds of opportunities around us, and so we're like, it's time to diversify. It's time to maybe get in some renewables that we love, and start to grow maybe in those directions.
I see. How much are the renewables?
What do you mean? How much of a return?
If you say you have to go get into the business, right? Yes.
Yeah. I can't remember the full breakdown of the one he was looking at. I think I think he said it would pay, oh, I can't remember what the return was on that.
I see.
It was much higher than our apartment complex. It was definitely much higher.
Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, you have a lot of different options, and Tony said, you know, one option is not an option, two option is not an option, at least three. Yeah, right.
Yes. Yeah. And so we're looking at about 4 different options, just waiting. Well, what my husband really keeps in his gut saying is get prepared for the crash of these markets. He goes, I just think it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen. It's got to burst sometime. We can't keep riding this wave up and up and up and up. It's got to one day burst. And so his thinking is maybe sell and just wait, you know, or learn options and put options to protect the money as we invest. I don't really know. He's more the financial brain and the numbers guy. He definitely is the numbers guy. He could have told you the hydro projects, all the little details, all the little financing behind it. I'm just like, does it make more than what we have going now?
Right.
And how much work is this going to be?
That's right.
And can we finally go trick-or-treating?
He said, sure, no problem at all. Because
our
I'm
kids
not
will
managing.
Be grown by the time they won't be trick-or-treating by the time we make
it. Very good, very good. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and your ideas. Yes. And if there's anything else that I can help you with, let me know. And if you think of anything else for my project, let me know too. And I think for your projects, I would strongly recommend going into a little bit more detail into the various options and then see which one is the one that you can do. You know, Tony, whenever he got a new opportunity, he may or may not give up the old one. He keep adding. And that's why, how many businesses is he running right now?
And that's what, and my husband is kind of kicking around those numbers too, is do we refinance, pull money out? He has thought about that as well and ran those numbers as well. So, And
you are a great connector. So I'm sure you'll find a lot of people who would be able to go into joint ventures with you because you do have an excellent asset there. Yes, and if that lady is good as she said in managing property, does she require a 2-year commitment?
Yes, I begged her. I'm like, please do not lock us in. Like, let us test you out.
Right.
And then let me sign a 10-year contract.
Right.
You know, do 6 months with me or 8 months with me. Don't lock me into a 2-year. That seems a little unfair, not really knowing your.
Yes.
But we'll see what she does, because a lot of our largest apartment complexes are signing. She's taking over some of the largest ones, so it's kind of interesting watching, you know, and seeing that. So
I would definitely try her for 6 months. I think, you know, if she is really as good as she said, 6 months could turn into 6 years.
That's what I told her. She will not budge from the 2 years. She's like, nope, I'm not going to do it. And I'm like, you know, so if you sign with her, it's 2 years commitment.
So. I don't know. Unless you are really, really comfortable with her. I personally myself probably would not do that. You know, because as you said, you don't know if she got in and really screw things up, you can't even kick her out. And you're stuck with the 2 years, which is.
And that's a lot of the property management companies around us. It's 1.5 to 2 years, all of them. And so, and one property management company told me that he loves to put dogs in there because he makes extra income off the dogs. And I said, I do not want dogs in my apartment.
No dogs.
I think that's a really bad thing to do for the landlords that own that property. Right. And he was all for that. And I'm like, no. I'm not working with you. I just think that's a bad idea. No. And so, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, whatever flooring you put in is going to be messed up.
Wood cupboards, cabinets, doors,
floors, hardwood floors. No, I don't want any pets. I told my manager, no pets.
That's what I told him, and he's like, you know, I really push that, and I'm like,
sorry, you're probably not the right person. How about this new person, this new manager? Is she going for dogs?
No, the new one, she is also, she owns apartment complexes herself too, which is nice. And she does not believe in the dogs either. She doesn't like the dogs. So she thinks that that's kind of a not so great deal. So,
yeah, your garden would be ruined too if you have dogs.
Yeah.
Okay, very, very good. I'm so glad we got a chance to explore all the different options that we both have. And hopefully we will be able to refer, thoughts to each other. And then if you have more information on that Health and Human Services, I would love to explore more on that one. And also Joe, if you're going to be working closely with them, I would really love to know more about them.
Yeah, and by the time you get up and fired and going, I will have a little bit of experience working. Like he's going to be bringing me on a call that is a client working with him, and so I'll be able to listen in and really get a good feel for all the different. Because his services, he offers a pretty big size package with those funds that he's asking for when it comes to internet marketing, when it comes to crowd sharing, when it comes to the Google and the grant writing. He offers some pretty big packages for that, and then the business consulting end of things as well. And then he touches base like half a year to make sure everything is working in alignment with each other. And anything that needs to be adjusted, he gets after and gets adjusted. So he babysits the charities even throughout the year to make sure that everything's working simultaneously as it should. So they're set up more like a business and ran more like a business. So it'll be exciting. I'm excited to learn from them.
Yes.
and different things.
Yeah, I think that's a great learning experience for you.
Yeah.
The other concern I have is that they haven't been around for a long time.
Yeah.
I think they started like last October. So it's just like a few months. So that's why I'm concerned about, turning in $20,000. And besides, I have all that I have is just thoughts in my head. I don't have anything in paper. And I don't know whether I am ready to get the 501c3 or not. Because once you got that, then you would have to do the filing on an ongoing basis. Every year I have to file a tax return. So that's why I have many steps that I need to have in place before I can, move on.
Right now you're in the information gathering stage.
Exactly.
And I would start looking into government resources. How is it, the government works with not assisted living, but elderly people, because I don't know if you have this in your area, but we have what's called helping hands, and they serve the meals to the elderly. They'll drive them to their homes, have them cooked and drive them to their homes. And there's all kinds of resources out there for them, and low-income housing for mothers with kids. There's a lot of funding and a lot of situations for people like that.
Yeah.
And so there's just all kinds of opportunity there for you to start doing some learning and growing in those areas, and seeing how the government works in those people's lives will start filling in your pieces for you, because those government agencies will work hand in hand with you in helping your dream come to fruition.
That's great. The government is a big sponsor.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
That's right. Okay. Very good. So thank you very, very much. And I really appreciate the time that we got a chance to talk. Yes. And then good luck on your project. And I think we probably won't have a meeting on the 17th because that's UPW. I don't know if you're going to that one. If you're going to that one, that'd be great. And then the next one is probably the end of March 31st. So that would give us almost a month to see how things develop in our programs.
Yes.
And then good luck in your projects.
Yes, you too. You as well. And if I come across anyone,
sure.
I'll send them your way. I will just pass your name on, or I will contact you through Discord or email.
Yeah.
I'll pass their names.
I think email would be perfect. Yes.
Email is better. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Sounds
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Have a good evening. All right. Bye-bye. Good night.